I'm a big fan of having a what I call a strength library, and I like giving out books for people to read and getting the chance to see what other people are reading as well. I mean, what are some opportunities that I should be looking at as far as pursuing books or, some other resources, maybe even on the web? I mean, where should I be going for information for advice on nutrition? I mean, what are some places that you go to, and what are you using as a resource? Or maybe what do you have on your bookshelf that you're reading right now, man?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, I like to stratify this advice. So I like to break it up a little bit, right? Because to be quite honest, what I'm reading is probably not what anyone on this call should be reading. I'm a PhD trained nutritional scientist. I read original source literature, scientific research, the full papers that are coming out of the top research labs in this field. To invite anyone who's not a PhD trained scientist to come and do this similar reading would be a big mistake. If you're not trained, you just don't know how to read and interpret the results of this type of literature. So I don't know that what I'm reading is the best recommendation. However, what ends up happening is, people like me end up writing articles, and we end up writing books that try and translate that information. And that's the type of stuff I think people should be reading. This is going to be like a shameless self-promotion here, but myself and my co-author, Ryan Andrews, wrote a nutrition textbook called, The Essentials of Sport and Exercise Nutrition, and it's part of our certification program. Honestly, I think it's the best book on nutrition that's ever been done. We're in our second printing right now. It's not only us writing the text. We have a host of physicians, naturopaths, PhDs, registered dietitians who review this on a routine basis and make suggestions for improvement. We use it in a graduate level curriculum. So we teach a course at Eastern Michigan University in the high performance physiology master's program. That's a performance nutrition course, and this is the text that we use. So if people are super geeks on the nutrition side and they want to really know dig into this stuff, they could get our textbook and read that, because I think that's the best resource that's out there right now. And not only is it the science, and this is, that's what you would expect: digestion, absorption, macronutrients, micronutrients, special needs, stuff like that. It's also the coaching, and I find that when I do interviews like this, for example, rarely do I ever get any questions on coaching, like how do you coach nutrition? And I feel like that's a real problem, because people see nutrition as a biochemistry science, but I see it completely different. I see it as a psychological science. I'll give an analogy. If someone comes to the gym on day one and they've never lifted weights before, and for some reason they will just watch the Olympics, and they're like, oh, that exercise they do, like the clean and jerk, I'd like to learn how to do that. What does a good strength coach do? Do they give them a bar and say, okay, here's a video of the 50-kilogram world records clean and jerk. Here's a bar, just do that, right? No, of course not. They break it up. They use a progression model. They look for limitations in the kinetic chain. Is there enough ankle mobility? How about hips? Do things fire in the appropriate sequence? Then they chunk up the movement. They give a little piece and then another little piece. And then eventually, maybe after 3, 4, 6 months, this person is doing their first clean and jerk with a broomstick or something like that. We call it a progression model in strength and conditioning. But I find that a lot of strength and conditioning professionals fail to realize that is the same type of model we should use for nutrition. And I'll give you a very specific example. What we end up doing in strength and conditioning a lot is we go, okay, cool, well, I want to help this athlete with their nutrition plan, so I'm going to write them up a diet. And to me, writing someone up a diet and handing it to them when they're a beginner in nutrition is similar to giving them the bar and saying, yeah, go clean and jerk now. Well, how come you can't do it? You watched the video of the Olympics. You should be able to do this no problem. It's the same thing. So for me, what we're looking for at Precision Nutrition and what we're applying is what we call a nutrition progression model. Okay, so it's what's the first habit that you need to do today that will be equivalent to testing for ankle mobility. And if it's weak or limited, what's the exercise you do to fix that? So we build people's diets up over time. We build them up by one habit at a time. And to me, that is a best practice of nutrition coaching psychology. It's not nutrition biochemistry. That's a long-winded introduction to a couple books that I think people should be reading about, not specifically about nutrition, but about coaching. So one of them is called Motivational Interviewing. It actually comes from addictions behavior psychology, but the idea is that when you're coaching someone through a life change, like a nutritional change, it's not about handing them a diet, saying, well, I'm the coach, you're the eater, do what I say, and if you don't, you suck and you don't deserve the results. That's a very poor coaching methodology, and it's one we don't advise. But a lot of people in fitness and strength and conditioning do that. And so motivational interviewing can help you fix that problem. It's basically about coaching change. And so I think anyone who wants to give any nutrition advice in the world needs to look at that. And to me, I consider it sort of change psychology, and then you apply it to nutrition. Another great book is The Power of Less. And same deal. It's about applying one habit at a time. We take some of the principles of that and build them into our certification program. But I think for anyone who has like a really keen interest in coaching nutrition, yes, you need to spend some time with some of the books. Okay, so it might be things like a book we wrote a few years ago, Nutrient Timing. It may be some of the popular nutrition books that are out there, but it might even be our certification textbook. But if you want to coach nutrition, that's something different than just understanding nutrition. And that, I think you have to read books like Motivational Interviewing, Power of Less. Another book that I really love is called Switch, and it's basically strategies for how to change anything in your life. That's kind of what's mostly on my shelf. I read original source literature, so published studies, and then I read change books, psychology books, how to help people change, coaching books, stuff like that. So that's kind of my repertoire. It's deep, deep science, and then change, coaching, counseling, psychology stuff, because we have to always remember we're not working with physiological machines, we're working with human beings. And human beings have very specific needs outside of protein, carbs, and fats. They need to be spoken to in a certain way. They need to be coached in a certain way. And your advice has to be rolled out in a progressive, you could call it periodized model, and we call that our nutrition progression. It's a big change for people in this industry. We come from a place where the scary coach frowns, crosses his arms, and kicks you in the ass if you don't do what he says. We realize that only works for about 10% of the population, but we have 90% of the rest of the people who need something different. Until we start learning how to provide it, we're doing a disservice to our field and to the people who honor us by trying to sign up to work with us.
Well, Dr. Berardi, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day here to enlighten us. I mean, I think you've done an outstanding job answering some questions and shedding some light on some topics that are pretty serious in our field, and I think they're common questions that have been asked. If anybody has any questions about what we discussed, or wanted to find out more information, or maybe even reach out to you or to find out more information about precision nutrition, I mean, can you give me some information? How would they go about reaching out to you or just finding out more information about what you're doing, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is pop by our website at precisionnutrition.com. We've published over 500 free articles. You don't have to be a member or anything. You just come on and read the articles. We've got an ongoing blog, and then we have an article system. These are called All About articles. So we cover all the most important topics in sport, fitness, nutrition comprehensively. It's like having a researcher in your pocket reviewing all the research. We have a really vibrant online community. We've got over 150,000 members who interact on our forums every day, lots of great experts and stuff like that. So that's the first place to start, check out Precision Nutrition. And when you're there, if you're a fitness professional yourself, strength and conditioning, rehab, whatever the case may be, I highly recommend checking out our free 5-day course, which is right on our homepage. That's basically when you land on precisionnutrition.com, down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a free 5-day course for fitness professionals and strength and conditioning professionals. It's a free 5-day video course. It's really, really awesome. So it takes you through like the basic tenets of coaching, precision nutrition style, coaching nutrition specifically. And it's really like a great 5-day crash course that's, like I say, completely free, that I think people will get a lot of value from. So if you just want to check out the site and browse, by all means do that. But if you're new to the site and haven't been familiar with us before, start off with a free 5-day course. That'll really give you a crash course in what we're up to and how you can do more after that. So that's where I'd love to send people.
Well, Doc, again, thank you very much for taking time out of your day, man. I really enjoyed the opportunity to speak with you. If anybody has any questions or is interested in nutrition at all, I mean, I went on this site and spent, I think it was even last Sunday, I probably spent a good, probably no lie, probably 4 or 5 hours just reading through articles, just watching the TV, and there was a ton of stuff on this website that I think a lot of people can learn from and just generate better questions to ask and provide better information to the people that they're working with and the people that they're around. So I would suggest and strongly encourage you to go check out precisionnutrition.com. Dr. John, I appreciate all the stuff that you're doing. I think you're an awesome resource for the community. I think it's awesome to see how far you've come with your passion and your desire to help others and putting that first. And it just speaks volumes about who you are. If there's anything ever I can do to help you, please do not hesitate to give me a call, and I look forward to keeping in touch, my man.
Thanks very much. Me too. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we do, spread the word, and hopefully use everyone who's listening here as kind of like a leverage point to do some good in the world, because that's why I do this. Hopefully by spreading our coaching ideas, our nutrition ideas, our lifestyle ideas to a few people, those people can go out and spread it to a few more and pay it forward, and eventually we have a real possibility here of changing the world, and that makes me excited and gets me up in the morning every day.
I think it's a great message and to end the conversation on, and we'll go from there, my man. I look forward to keeping in touch. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity. If anybody's out there listening, please go to precisionnutrition.com and check out the site. Again, Dr. John, you're the man, and I look forward to, just hopefully this is a launching pad for us to do more things in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you.